finally, I'm becoming a man that loves himself and that knows how to love other people. Modern love, church on time, terrifies me, makes me money, gets me just in my man. All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at, we don't know. So we'll say all three of them. I'm Chad Goldwasser. Welcome to the Golden Hour with Chad. Thanks for tuning in. Hit subscribe if you would. If you like. If you don't, then don't. But if you would like to, subscribe and then tell your friends about it and let them know. We're going to be talking about things. Our mission is to make a positive impact on everyone that we serve. And we're going to do that in a lot of different ways. We're going to talk about real estate. We're going to talk about love. We're going to talk about sobriety. We're going to talk about faith. We're going to talk about business. We're going to interview people. We're going to do a lot of different things. So hit subscribe to the Golden Hour. I want to talk about relationships today. Have you been in one? Are you in one? Who was your first love? I remember my first love. It was Amy. It was in 4th grade. And Amy was this sweet girl. She lived in Apple Valley, Minnesota, where I grew up. We were in 4th grade, 5th grade, and we were playing a kissing game on the playground. And the girls would chase after the boys, and if they tagged you, they had to kiss you. And I liked Amy, and Amy was chasing after me, and I was trying to wink there. I accidentally fell down, and Amy had to kiss me on the cheek, and Amy was my first love, and then I met a girl in 6th grade and dated her, but then there was this girl, and she was in the homeroom across the way from me, and I told my buddy she's going to be cute in a couple of years, and 2 years later in front of Locker Bay A at Apple Valley High School, when I was 13 years old, I asked her to go with me, and I dated her on and off all throughout high school and college, and then she finished college in 3.5 years and moved back to Minnesota, hated it, never wanted to be in the cold, so she moved down to Austin, Texas, my home, my current home. And I remember one night we were walking together with my dog, Moab, Utah, shout out Moab, my dog, he's no longer with us. Shout out Moab, I love you, and I'm sorry for being a bad dog dad. And we were walking, and I said to her, this is really awesome. You know, we could be boyfriend and girlfriend, kind of like Farrah Fawcett and Ryan O'Neal for the rest of our lives. And she said, I'm having a baby, and I'm not having a baby with someone that I do not want to be, that I am not married to. So I started riding my bike around for some reason. Austin, Texas, I don't know. My car must have not been working or something. And I found a ring, and I proposed to her. I was 22 years old. And I made a big shebang about it. I had her walk with me, and it was her birthday. It was May 14th of 1996, I believe, or 97. And then I proposed to her in a field where we walked our dog, and I made it really good. Guys out there, if you're going to propose to your woman, don't do it just sitting at a table during dinner. Like, put some thought into it. Show her how much you love her. Be creative in the way that you ask someone to marry you. That was one thing that I was good at in relationships. Everything else I sucked at, pretty much. So I married this girl, and we built a company together, and we had 3 children together, 3 beautiful children. Shout out Mason, 22, Aiden, 20, and Samantha, 17, the loves of my life. And we were married for approximately 13 years. Yeah. And then we built a company together. We had 3 children together, and then she chose not to be married to me anymore, which was probably a pretty good choice. I was very arrogant, very full of myself. I had become the #1 real estate agent worldwide for a company, and I thought I was God, and I wasn't, but I thought I was. And so I had this pride and ego and a lot of stuff that wasn't good for a relationship. And then she left me, and I went into this depression, and I thought my life was over. She worked with me at my company, and I had another gentleman working with me as the CEO, and he was running the company. And she was the chief operating officer of the company, and she was amazing. She still is. Shout out to her. She's incredible. She's kicking butt in the real estate industry right now, and I'm super proud of her. And I love her as one of my friends that I have been with for a long time and has been with me through a lot. My father dying, addiction, all kinds of stuff. Poor girl. And I thought my life was over when she left me. And so I started, instead of getting up very early in the morning and doing my affirmations and going through my mindset exercise, all that stuff, I started getting up and going to the pantry, and at 6 a.m. in the morning, before the kids got up, if they were with me, I would drink vodka, and then I would go out into my garage and I would smoke a cigarette. Ugh, you nasty, don't smoke. I smoke this right now, but I'm gonna give it up. I've got 2 days left with it. It's just nicotine, but I've only got 2 days left with it, and then I'm starting a 90-day removal of it from my life. Anyways, I would go into the garage, I would sit there, I would think about my life and how bad it was, and she was leaving me, and we were divorced and everything, and I, at that time, I was real depressed. I didn't want to live. And then I came out of that, and I got my energy back, and I started doing things, and then our company broke up, and I met a new person, and that person was really awesome. But I'm going to get to the point here in a minute. It's about love, and it's about being loved correctly and loving others correctly, which I don't believe we can do unless we truly love ourselves, and we are ourselves, and there's ways to do that, and I'm going to talk about that today. That's going to be the point, is how do we love ourselves, and how do we love others correctly? There is a way. But I'm not a love expert, so don't take my advice if you don't want it. But I'm starting to learn how to love correctly. So I met this girl, and she worked with my company again. I was building my company, and then we were dating, and I asked her to marry me. It was a very big production as well. I wrote a song, and I had my buddy Kalu James. Shout out Kalu James. If you don't know Kalu James in Austin, Texas, and his music, check him out on Spotify. Kalu has become one of my best friends and also a great musician in Austin, Texas. Austin, Texas has a ton of music. I'm going to be sharing that with you. And anyway, that relationship with her lasted 10 years. We didn't end up getting married after I asked her to marry me, and I wrote the song, and I made a big production of the proposal. Then we broke up. Then we got back together. Then we started building our company. Then I've maybe told you about this, but I started using drugs and alcohol behind her back, or thinking I was behind her back, and then she found out, and then I tried to get help, and then she said, no, I don't want to be married anymore. And if you've ever been through that, it's really tough. It was really tough for me, and I relapsed, and I had to go back, and I had to get healthy again, and now I am totally sober. It's awesome. About almost 6 months sober now. Everybody. Louder, louder, louder. Yay! Sobriety. We're going to talk about that as well. It's incredible. I feel like my life has been renewed. The marriage ended about 3 weeks ago. The divorce was finalized. I had begged that not happen. I thought I would never find love if she didn't love me because I didn't love myself and I felt inadequate in a lot of ways. Maybe you feel that way. It's tough. I know a lot of us have insecurities like I did and I do still a little bit, sort of. I'm working on it. And what happened was when I was away getting healthy this past time, getting help, this gentleman said to me, he said, think about what she must have felt like when she found out that you were using these drugs behind her back for 2.5 years. And think of it from her point of view and write those things down. And so I did. Devastated, angry, embarrassed, sad, alone, depressed. And then I wrote little paragraphs on each of those. And then, and here is where we talk about something that I hope will change your life because it changed my life. I wrote down the 13 characteristics of the man I wanted to be for my partner. And I wrote down empathetic, loving, kind, caring, strong, thoughtful. Did I say empathetic? Empathetic. I've never had an empathetic bone in my body until now. Praise God. Thank you, God, for empathy. Humble, kind, intimate, passionate, sober. And I wrote down 13 characteristics of the man I wanted to be. And I might suggest, if you're interested in being better at loving another human being, that you write who you want to be, how you want to be. And I wrote down those characteristics, and then I wrote out a paragraph about each and what that would look like if I were empathetic and loving and caring and kind and strong and thoughtful and vulnerable and passionate and intimate. And I wrote those things down and I started reading them every day. I wrote them down on 1/5/2023. That's approximately 4 months ago. And I started praying to God for empathy and for kindness and for thoughtfulness and to be a loving man. God, I just want to be a loving, kind, thoughtful, awesome man. And I want to love myself. And I started to realize that I was getting those things. I started to realize I was becoming empathetic and thoughtful and kind, and I created goals around those things, you know. So write down the man or the woman you want to be, the characteristics of that man or woman, and start reading those things on a daily basis just to drive them into your mind, because I forget things, and you don't want to forget how to be good at loving someone, especially loving yourself. So I started to realize that I was becoming a better man. One day, after I left my home at 4:45 to go meet my buddy Mike Rude, shout out Mike Rude, to work out. I have a very systematic way that I wake up in the morning, and I pray by my bedside on my knees, 7 prayers. Then I go through my affirmations. Then I meditate for 14 minutes and listen to what God has to say to me. And then I go to the gym. Well, first I go to 7-Eleven, and that's where this story starts. At 7-Eleven, this gentleman was sitting on the curb at 4:45 in the morning, 4:50, and he was rocking back and forth, and he was obviously hurting, and he was obviously homeless. And I got out of my car, and I looked at him, and I walked in the store, and I got my coffee, and I walked back out, and he said to me, "Do you have a lighter?" And I said, "Let me check." And I looked in my bag, and I didn't. I said, "Let me go buy you one. Do you want a coffee?" And he said, yes, a coffee. And I said, do you like cream and sugar? And he said, yes, cream and sugar. And I said, why don't you just come in the store with me? And so he walked in the store, and he got kicked out of the store because the guy behind the counter, Daniel, who I don't think he works there anymore. I haven't been there for a while because I moved. But Daniel said, you can't be in here, you know that. And he said, Chad, he can't be in here. And so I said, okay. And he went back outside. I got the coffee. I brought it back out to him. I gave it to him. I gave him the lighter. And I got in my car, and I started driving down the road to the gym. And I started to tear up because I was sad for that guy. And I was sad for myself because I knew that could have been me. I was headed for the streets. It can happen to any of us. So think about that when you're thinking about, that person on the side of the road and not giving them a smile or a dollar or whatever. I think we should help them. And I think you should take them into a 7-Eleven and buy them a coffee or get them a lighter or maybe a pack of cigarettes or whatever they want just to help them out, because you may be the only positive thing that happens in their day. And we all need positive things to lift us up and encourage us. And anyway, that's when I knew I was getting empathy. And then I started to realize thoughtfulness was coming into my life and all these different things. And I started to love the man that I was and to love the man that I was becoming. So, first step for me, this is just my experience, you can take it or leave it, is to write down the man that I want to be. Maybe not the man that I am today, because I wasn't that man forever. I ruined a lot of relationships, not just with women, but with men, with mentors, with people. And if you're out there, part of my process of my sobriety is step 9 is to make amends with people. And I just want to say to anyone out there that I have hurt a relationship with that I am truly sorry and that I apologize for being who I was, and that in the future I will be a better man. And so write things down, write out who you want to be, think about yourself in the future, and then start reading those things and becoming that person and setting goals behind them. Because what I do is I'll push my life out 20 years, I'll write about it, and then I'll come back to today and I'll say, if I want to be a loving man in a loving relationship, then I will take these steps. I am buying the woman I love flowers once a week. I am bringing her coffee in the morning for her on a regular basis just to show her I care. I am taking her places and doing things with her that are fun. I am putting my phone down and paying attention to her and listening to her and making her feel heard. And you can set goals that you can then look at on a regular basis. Then I would suggest laminating that. And I always laminate things because then I can, they don't die. You put something on paper, it sometimes dies or you lose it. But I laminate things, and then I remember. You laminate things, and then you look at them every day. A lot of people have goals, and they write them down, and then they forget about them. And I forget about things a lot, so I have to write them down, and then I look at them every day, and I drive them into my mind and my soul and my heart so that I can become that person. People will ask a lot of times, people that are successful, how did you do it? Well, this is how I did it. I started writing things down. And now I'm starting to see those things manifest in my life, and it's a beautiful thing. And sometimes I had to be reminded when I was in my addiction for 40 years, from the time I was 10 years old, started using substances to destroy the feelings and give me peace in my mind. When my father went to jail when I was 10 years old, and it was all over the newspapers. Then when I was 14 and he died, and I didn't want to deal with those feelings. And so I started using substances. If you have any addiction issues or substance issues and you want help, you can reach out to us at the show and we'll try to help you. I'll try to help you. Major part of my life is helping people get sober because it has changed my life. I wouldn't be here now if it weren't for my surrender to the program of Alcoholics Anonymous and surrendering my life to God. And it's possible because I was 40 years using chemicals. But last thing, and then I'm going to let you go because we're getting to the end here, is writing things down and having a vision for the future and then creating goals behind them. And I moved into a new place in Austin, Texas. You should come down sometime. We'll go to some rock and roll shows and you can come hang out with us. I moved into this new place 3.5 weeks ago. I emptied out a storage unit, and in that storage unit, there were a bunch of, there's history, 25 years. There's 10 boxes sitting in my office right now that I'm going to mine from, but of writing and awards and all this history of my life. And I'm going to utilize that because I wrote down, I had notebooks full of writing about leadership, about teamwork, about attitude, about sales. And I found this. It's called Chad Goldwasser's Life Plan, November 7th, 2014. And I wrote a mission statement. I'm not going to share that with you today. And then I wrote down my values, my family, my children and my wife, my personal growth, my career, God, health, family. And then I wrote my eulogy. And then I wrote each value I took. And I wrote a clarifying vision statement for that. And then I wrote what I see. And then I wrote steps I will take. And here's what I wrote about relationships with my wife and children. My life, clarifying vision statement, family. My life is devoted to being an absolutely great father to my children and developing a strong friendship with them. I will be my wife's strongest supporter. I will always be her best friend and build a strong, trusting, respectful relationship for the rest of our lives. What do I see? I am at age 52. I'm 50. So this was almost 20 years ago, 18 years ago. I am at age 52 and I'm living an incredibly rich and full life. My relationship with my children is strong. Mason is 24 and Aiden is 22. Sam wasn't born yet. Shout out Sam. During their lives so far, I've focused on being their friend without pushing myself on them. They share many of my same interests, and we still take many trips together. One of those trips is always to go biking. Sometimes we go to Moab, and other times we stray and venture out. Wherever we go, we always have a great time together and share a lot about our hopes and dreams, as well as mine and theirs. We have created many strong memories and traditions together. My children look at me as a model of success and integrity. They understand that I have committed my life to growing as a person and to being a leader and a lifter of people. They are starting to model their lives after mine. They will always know how much I love them and how proud I am of them. Wife, we have known each other for many years of our life. We have a strong relationship and respect each other greatly. We've gone through many ups and downs, but early on we committed to always working together to go through anything. We have had many great times and built many great memories with our family. At this point, we have traveled all over the world. We built a very strong and successful life based on our values and beliefs. We committed to a long time ago to growing together, and we have done that. We have devoted our lives to helping others. We set the bar very high for ourselves. We both committed to being strong models on how to live a life free of envy, jealousy, negative feelings, and need of things. Damn. I don't need things anymore. I don't care about things anymore. If you're chasing after things and money and success and fame and wealth, don't do it. It won't make you happy. Chase after happiness. We are each other's best friends and we respect each other greatly. And then I wrote down the steps I will take. I will truly talk to my wife uninterrupted, 20 minutes per night. I will send my wife flowers or a gift telling her I love her and respect her once a month. I will tell her she is my best friend and that I respect her daily. I will encourage all of her dreams. I will take my kids on one family vacation per year. I will make Fridays after 3 p.m. my kids' time. Our Saturday mornings will be our fun time, like the time I spent with my father. Rest in peace. Dad, I love you. I will take them on a special lunch weekly. I will always carve out family times first so we can set goals, we can have a vision, we can build a life where we love ourselves and we're the best people that we can be, and we can change. It took me 50 years to figure this stuff out, but I gave my life to figuring things out, and finally, I'm becoming a man that loves himself and that knows how to love other people, and you can change too, I hope. I think you can, but it takes work. You gotta, people want the results, but they don't want to do the work. I was talking to a friend of mine today, and we were talking about the fact that people want the changes, but they don't want to work for them. David Bowie, he was sober, I think. I don't want to, out him, but I think he outed himself. And he changed. Still don't know what I was waiting for, and my time was running wild. Changes by David Bowie. Crank it up, listen to it. Hit subscribe to the Golden Hour with Chad Goldwasser and others. We're going to shine the light on other people too. If I can ever help you, reach out to us at the Golden Hour. And I hope you learned something today. I did. If no one else, I did. Lele learned something. Changing and face the changes. I don't want to be a richer man. The Golden Hour from Orlando. Man, we love you. We want to serve you. Let us know what you want to hear about. And we'll try and cover it. Thank you, God, for this awesome opportunity to share with others. Have a great day, ladies and gentlemen. Chad Goldwasser, The Golden Hour. Hit subscribe now. Tell your friends. Join the revolution. Have a great day. Change the size, but never leave.